you and a warm welcome to the studio and a brand new video. I'm going to be sharing a colour swatching session with you today. If you remember in my last video I did an unboxing of some brand new watercolour paints that I'd ordered from Jackson's Art, and today I'm going to be testing them all out for the very first time. There's a brand new brand in there that I've never used before, the Daniel Smith watercolour range, and I've heard amazing things about it, and some of the colour swatches that I've seen on Pinterest and so on have looked incredible. So I'm really excited to get stuck in and have a go with them myself, and together we will see what we think. So I'm going to get the desk set up now, get some watercolour paper out, get the palettes ready, and then we will try out the paints. Okay, so I've got everything set up here and ready to go. I've got my paints, my new brush that I ordered, the small ceramic palettes, some water and some kitchen roll for dabbing my brush on. I'm going to be swatching the paints on this Hannibal Cornwall paper. Probably pronounced that completely incorrectly. I'm not very good at German, so apologies if I've said it wrong. This is beautiful watercolour paper. It's got a slight texture. It's cold pressed and I've used it for absolutely years in lots of my artwork. It's with it having a slight texture, I'm hoping that it's going to pick up some of these colours and the granulations in them as they dry really beautifully, so we'll get a really good impression of what to expect from them. So I'm going to pop some paint into the palettes and then we will start the swatching. So I'm going to take each of the tubes and put a small amount of paint. Oh my goodness, that one's oozing out. That one's the Shadow Violet by Daniel Smith. I'm just going to add a dot of each one. So I'm starting with the Shadow Violet. Now this one literally oozed out of the tube. But the thing with watercolour, when you've got them on a palette and they dry, you can always go back to them and reactivate them with water and use them again. So nothing is wasted with watercolour. Right, let's start. Oh, that's beautiful. Add a bit of water to the bottom part of this swatch and then we'll be able to see how it performs more watered down as well. Now this is a really lovely shade. It's sort of purpley greyish toned. It's really lovely. I think I'll be using this one a lot. And the next one I'm trying is Moon Glow. Now I'm really excited about this because I've been staring at pictures of colour swatches on Pinterest for what feels like months now, and it sort of colour shifts when it dries and there's different tonal elements to it, and it just seems one of the most exciting paints I've ever seen in my life, so to finally get to give it a go is really exciting. Let's add a bit more water again to dilute that down. And this brush, by the way, that I'm using, it's one of Jackson's own brand brushes, the Icon brush with a flat end, and it's the 1/4 inch size, and it's really performing very nicely indeed. It holds the paint well and it's got a nice fine tip. I'm just going to put a little bit more at the top. It's a little bit more concentrated up there. Just dot that in. Can't wait to see how that dries. And this next paint is Cascade Green, and again it's one that I've been really keen to try. I find it quite thickly there at the top. Oh, that's lovely. Moving on to my next palette, and this is Amazonite Genuine. Oh, I'm already in love with this. Look at that, the most beautiful teal. And of course, when these have dried, I'll come back and we'll take a look at them and see what kind of magical alchemy has happened, because it always does with watercolour. Just pull some water down through there. Oh, it's stunning. And so far, I think these colours are working very, very well together. I'm just going to drop a little bit more colour in the top there. Now the last shade of the Daniel Smith tube paint is Green Gold. This looks a lovely one. Yep, lovely. It's very vibrant. It's reminding me of the new leaves that are appearing on the trees now outside. So fresh. Yeah, it's a lovely, lovely colour, this one. Oh, I think they look marvellous together. What about you? Do you think they look good together? I think that's a nice palette. And to complement those, let's just move over to this palette now. I have the Schmincke Horadam, which are watercolours in tubes. Now I have a palette of Schmincke paints and they're absolutely beautiful. One of my favourite sets. I've not used their tube paint before, so let's give that a whirl. This one is Rose Madder, and I can just see by adding some water on the palette that this is going to be a favourite. Look at that beautiful pink. It reminds me of roses in summer. We have the most stunning rose bush in the garden and the petals are just this shade. This is a colour that I've seen a few different artists use recently online, and again it's the Schmincke Horadam and it's Potter's Pink. This is a bit more dusky. Oh, look at this. It's a very traditional colour. Been used for years and years. I can see why. That's really lovely, and I think I'm going to be using this one a lot. In fact, I think I'm going to be using all of them a lot. And I'm really excited about how they work so well together. This is a lovely palette. Now the last one, this standalone one here, is the one that Jackson's sent me. I think it was because I spent however much on paints, or ordered so many watercolour paints, and they popped this one in as a complimentary gift, and it's Ultramarine Deep. It's in a 10 milliliter tube, so it's a very generous size, and I'm going to try it out now. I'm very keen to try the Jackson's paint. I've heard good things about it, so let's see if it lives up to the hype. Oh, that's really nice. Yeah, a lovely vibrant ultramarine. So next I'm going to swatch these colours in this small set, which is a Daniel Smith watercolour set, and it's the blues set of Serene to Dramatic paint if you were interested in them yourself. Let's have a look on the box. It gives you the colours. I'm wondering which one is which, because the way they're laid out on the box on the back sort of follows suit with how they are in the palette. On the side they're kind of mixed up. So we'll try and figure this out as we go. I am guessing straight away that this one is Sleeping Beauty Turquoise, so I'm just going to activate it with some water and we'll start our swatches here. So straight away there I noticed a bluish tint, but there's also a lovely shade of turquoise evident as well. Oh, it's lovely. This reminds me of the sea. Oh, just look at that, isn't that lovely? And these are so fine, these paints. They're really lovely to work with. I'm going to just put a little bit more concentration at the top. That's really lovely. Now this, I think, maybe this one, Cerulean Blue. Let's try. Looks like a likely match to me. Let's give that a go here. Oh, again, just the most beautiful tone of blue. Now the fun begins, because I don't know which which one we're going to get to next. Let's have a look. So it's very dark in the palette, as you can see. I mean, these four all look really quite similar. I'm sure there must be a way of finding out which one is which, so I will label them before we kind of look back at them when they're dry. I will find out before I compile this video so that you can then see which one is which. It's It's a beautiful colour. I'm wondering if it's Lunar Blue. All shall be revealed. Moving on to the bottom layer now. This is a lovely dark one. Wow. If you can hear some tapping in the background, there's some people having a roof done a couple of doors down. It sounds like they've arrived. Starting work. Apologies for the noise there. Hope it doesn't distract too much. That's a beautiful, intense colour. And I'm, again, saying the same thing again, but I'm loving how they're looking together. The mystery one in the middle. To begin with, it looks slightly similar to this one here, doesn't it? Let's persevere and see how it turns out. Yeah, that's a lovely one as well. And on to the last one. Well, to begin with, these three in the palette look almost identical, and when you come to apply them on paper they do have similarities, I think, but once you start working with them and add some water, it sort of reveals the subtle differences in each one. The pigments in these are very intense, really high quality paints. Very impressed so far. Okay, so there we go. We've swatched all of the paints now. We just about get them on camera together. I'm going to let them dry, find out individually what these ones are, and then we will take a look at them in their dried state and see what we think. Okay, so the paints have been given time to dry, and here they are. I've also labelled them up so I can tell you which one is which again. Shadow Violet is this one here, and this is Moonglow and Cascade Green. Now, I don't know if you can see, but they've sort of dried with different pigments and tones coming through. The Shadow Violet has sort of pink and blue in the watered down areas here, and Moonglow has this beautiful sort of blue tone happening around this area. Can you see that? The Cascade Green, I think, may be my new favourite green. It has these beautiful granulations and hints of yellow, sort of yellowish gold is showing in this corner here. Absolutely beautiful. So just slide the paper along, and the last two, Amazonite Genuine here and Green Gold, and as you can see again, there's some beautiful granulations going on, and the sort of watercolour has settled in the pockets in the paper, and it's just absolutely beautiful. I couldn't be more thrilled or impressed. I think Daniel Smith may be my new favourite. Don't tell Schmincke. But saying that, these two, the Schmincke paints, have performed beautifully as well. Now, the Rose Madder is not as granulated as Potter's Pink, which is here on the right. I mean, this is just astonishing. It's absolutely lovely. I really like how that's dried, but I do like this colour enormously. I think it's just such a beautiful radiant pink. The Jackson's paint, look at this. I mean, that's just stunning, isn't it? Again, beautiful granulation, lovely intensity at the top. So I'm actually thinking now about perhaps investing in some Jackson's paints as well. Now, I figured out the colours of these in the palette that I bought, and had I opened my eyes and investigated inside the box, I would have found a colour swatch which actually tells us exactly which paints are which. So this one here on the left is Sleeping Beauty Genuine Turquoise, and I have to say it's lovely. Again, the granulation in all of these paints has really come through as they've dried. This one is Cerulean Blue, as we guessed. Now this one here is Lunar Blue, and it's almost got like a dark teal tone that sort of fades out into a paler grey. It's really lovely. This one to the right of it is Indigo, and yes, it's got a sort of very faint purplish hue to it. That's really nice. And the last two, Sodalite Genuine. That's granulated extraordinarily well, hasn't it? It's absolutely lovely. Some real lovely textures happening there. And this last one is Payne's Blue Grey. Now, I'm a big fan of Payne's Grey. I use it a lot in my acrylic work. And this one is really nice, and it does have a very sort of gentle blue tone to it, which I do like. So there we have it. That's the colour swatches all completed, and I'm really happy with the colour choices that I've made. I feel like I may invest in some more Daniel Smith colours as time goes on. They're not the cheapest of paints, but I think sometimes you do get what you pay for, and I think the proof is in the pudding here with how these have dried, and they're absolutely lovely, beautiful. Again, I'm going to have a look on Jackson's website at their own brand paint now, because I'm really quite impressed with this. So perhaps further along the line I might send for a few of theirs as well, and we will swatch those together. Yeah, so I hope you've enjoyed this colour swatching session. I've really enjoyed sharing this process with you. If you're inspired to try any of these paints yourself, I do have an affiliate link for Jackson's, and all new customers receive 10% off their first order when shopping through the link, and I receive a small commission at no extra cost to you. So if you are tempted to try, then that would be lovely if you don't mind clicking through. I will look forward to sharing another video with you soon, but that's all from me for now. Take care, and I'll see you soon.